with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. I'm DarfMike coming to you live from the streets of Jubilife City, and some nice old man just told me to go looking for 3 clowns. So while I do that, why don't we talk about the news? The Pokemon Company hosted a Pokemon Presents last week, featuring the vocal talents of our very own Necra, and we got a pretty good look at some of the titles coming to the Pokemon franchise. Starting with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they look to be faithful remakes of the classic games, with an updated visual style and some new added quality of life features, including an underground area where you can capture new Pokemon that should help improve the diversity of Pokemon available. Pokemon Legends Arceus, meanwhile, has a lot more to unpack. We got our first really good look at the open world that your character will roam, trying to fill out the first ever Pokedex, and we also got a look at several new Hisuian versions of familiar Pokemon, who all seem to be sporting substantial facial hair. I guess they didn't invent razors before they invented the first Pokedex. But there are some things to be concerned about as well, especially visually, as the textures on display look dated and frankly lousy, like a mid-2010s Unity game. It just wasn't a very impressive first look, especially for a game like Pokemon that's about exploring and experiencing nature. To come out this flat is a big concern. We know how great games can look even on the Switch with titles like Breath of the Wild, so there's really no excuse not to deliver a stunning visual experience. We've got some bad news about Halo Infinite, gang. While we still don't have a release date for the game, we do now know some content won't be coming along for the ride, as 343 has revealed they've had to sacrifice some content along the way to get the game shippable, thus removing co-op campaign and Forge from the initial release. Now they will supposedly come later on in a staggered release, but this is super troubling because it feels like 343 doesn't really always get what makes Halo Halo, and to my eyes, co-op campaign is a huge part of that. The best hours I've had with this franchise have been spent on the couch with a buddy, slogging through a campaign, trying to beat it on Legendary, trying to collect all the skulls, and having hours of fun along the way. Taking that out is like ripping a piece of the soul out of this game. It's very concerning for a game that was already pushed back a year in development and still doesn't have a firm launch date in sight. There are so many red flags about this game at this point, it's like a ghost stuck full of plasma grenades driving at you full speed. A new trailer for Call of Duty Vanguard has dropped, and we now know a lot more about the new game, including its release date, November 5th, and some more details about the actual gameplay. It's got a campaign set in World War II, featuring several special forces type battling across the 4 major theaters of the war. It'll also boast a new Zombies game mode and a new map coming to Warzone. But along with the new map, there's also a very important new feature, a brand spanking new anti-cheat that might finally help crack down on some of the rampant cheating that's been going on in their Battle Royale game mode. If it works, you might finally have COD players having to come up with a better excuse for why they just got shot in the head. We ragged on EA for doing it last week, and now apparently it was Epic's turn to wholesale steal from an indie developer. They've done it this week by ripping off the entire game of Among Us and shoving it into Fortnite as their new Fortnite Impostors game mode. They've stolen the idea, the execution, heck, they took the dang map to add to their own game. And this is all pretty sus, Epic, because Innersloth, the developers of Among Us, who exploded overnight with the success of this social engineering game, have actually been trying for a collaboration with Epic, which makes it all the more disturbing that Epic, a company that seems to be willing to throw money at just about anyone for a collab, would turn around and snipe their entire game while leaving them with not a penny. Pretty miserable behavior here, though we have to admit, deliciously ironic for a game built around betrayal.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Soulja Boy, the one-hit wonder rapper himself, took to Instagram Live last week to loudly declare to the world that he was now the owner of Atari, much to the surprise of the world, and as it turns out, of Atari, who then publicly declared that he was in fact not the owner or CEO of Atari, and that they're very confused about why he would think that. So clearly someone's in the wrong here, and it's probably Probably Soulja Boy, because he was also convinced that they were going to be buying his Soulja Boy console for $140 million. A console that never really sold anything, and a price that would actually be more than the currently traded market cap of Atari. So something tells me that deal's not going to go through. Look, Soulja Boy, I know it's been a while since Crank That, and we're all eager to get our hands on Pong Quest, but this isn't the way to go about it. That's it for this week on Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. I'm DarfMike, and I finally found all those dang clowns and got myself something called a Pokesh, so I'm gonna go ahead and check that out. It's got all these cool apps, it's got a clock, it's like a watch, and all this other stuff in one. And why is the time changing? Hey, where'd the clowns go?